The War of 1812 is often called America's Second War of Independence, but the real story is far more complex. Beyond the burning of Washington and the Star-Spangled Banner, deeper motives and forgotten participants shaped the conflict. The war wasn't just about sailors' rights or free trade, it was a messy struggle with hidden ambitions. America, a young and divided nation, faced a global superpower distracted by Napoleon. Official reasons like impressment and trade restrictions were only part of the story. At its heart, the war was about land, empire, and the fate of Native American nations caught in the crossfire. To understand the war, we must look past patriotic myths and listen to voices like Tecumseh's, who fought for survival and a different future. The War of 1812 was not a simple contest between two nations, but a conflict that redrew the map and reshaped identities. Let's uncover the hidden history behind the headlines. On paper, the US declared war in 1812 over British impressment of sailors and harsh trade restrictions. These grievances hurt American pride and economy, but the nation was deeply divided over war. New England Federalists, dependent on trade, fiercely opposed it, fearing economic disaster. The congressional vote for war was razor-thin, revealing a country at odds with itself. Across the Atlantic, Britain was preoccupied with Napoleon and saw America's war as a nuisance. Ironically, Britain repealed its trade restrictions just as war began, news that crossed the ocean too late. The official justifications masked deeper ambitions, settling old scores, expanding territory, and asserting power. The anger over impressment was real, but it was also a convenient rallying cry for those seeking more. The war's true causes lay in a tangled web of politics, opportunity, and national identity. The spark of war ignited a continent already primed for conflict. Publicly, the war was about sailors' rights, but many Americans hungered for land. War hawks like Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun saw Canada and native-held lands as the nation's destiny. They believed conquering Canada would be easy and would end British influence over native tribes. The real goal, secure the northern border and open the west for settlement. War with Britain was a chance to break native resistance and claim millions of acres. The loudest calls for war came from regions least affected by British policies, because their eyes were on expansion. For many, the War of 1812 was fundamentally a war for land, not just honor. The dream of manifest destiny was already taking shape. For native nations, the War of 1812 was a desperate fight for survival. Shawnee leader Tecumseh united tribes to resist American expansion, envisioning a pan-Indian confederacy and an independent native state. Native warriors allied with the British not for empire but to defend their homelands. Their alliance was crucial in early British victories like the capture of Detroit. But Tecumseh's death at the Battle of the Thames shattered native hopes. The British abandoned their promises, leaving native allies to face American expansion alone. The war devastated native confederacies and led to massive land losses. For Native Americans, the war's end marked the collapse of resistance east of the Mississippi. Their struggle, central to the war, ended in tragedy and dispossession. Britain's main focus during the War of 1812 was defeating Napoleon in Europe. The American conflict was a sideshow, fought defensively to protect Canada with limited resources. The Royal Navy blockaded US ports, hoping to force peace without major offensives. Everything changed in 1814 when Napoleon fell. Suddenly, Britain could send veteran troops to America. This led to the burning of Washington, D.C., a humiliating blow to the US. Still, Britain never aimed to reconquer America. Their goal was to secure Canada and end the distraction. War-weary and taxed, the British public wanted peace. With Napoleon gone, Britain quickly moved to wrap up the American war and refocus on Europe. The War of 1812 was always a minor chapter in Britain's global struggle. The Treaty of Ghent ended the war in 1814, restoring pre-war borders and resolving none of the original disputes. On paper, it was a draw. No territory changed hands, and key issues like impressment were ignored. Yet, Americans celebrated the war as a victory, thanks to Andrew Jackson's triumph at New Orleans. The battle, fought after the treaty was signed, became a symbol of American resilience. Early defeats and the burning of Washington were forgotten in a wave of patriotism. The war launched Jackson's career and gave the US new heroes and myths. For Britain, the war was quickly forgotten, a minor distraction from the real fight against Napoleon. Canada, successfully defended, remained part of the British Empire. Both sides claimed success, each shaping the story to fit their national priorities. The real victory was in the stories nations told themselves. The War of 1812's legacy wasn't in land or treaties, but in the stories nations told afterward. For Americans, it forged a new sense of unity and national identity, banishing colonial insecurities. The war gave the US a flag, an anthem, and a hero in Andrew Jackson. In Canada, the war became a founding myth, uniting English, French, and Native allies in defense of their land. Canadians saw it as a clear victory, shaping their path apart from the US. For Native Americans, the war was a catastrophe, destroying Tecumseh's Confederacy and ending hopes for independence. Forced treaties and land losses followed, sealing the fate of Native nations east of the Mississippi. The war's messy reality was recast as national triumph or tragedy, depending on who told the tale. America and Canada emerged stronger. Britain moved on. But for Native peoples, the war's true legacy was loss, and a reminder that history is shaped by those who write it.